Alright guys, so we're back in the garage again. As you can see, we got a decent further with the AMC 304 and the CJ. These aren't hooked up yet. We were just kind of test fitting. We gotta get some new tubing. But as far as like our alternator, the starter's hooked up down there now. You'll see a separate video I posted. We are having a slight issue with our harmonic balancer, which killed some time, but we ended up getting that on there good. Same thing with there's so many different brackets for our alternator here. It took a little bit to get that set up right. Power steering. So actually a lot done today. Transfer cases in, replaced all the U-joints and the drive shafts. The doctor did come by today, Dr. Michael. So you'll be seeing him in plenty of our videos when we're working on our Jeeps and stuff like that. He is definitely the guy to have around for sure. So he came by, like I said, and between him and Mike, they definitely put in some solid work today on this thing. So it is coming together nicely. We think about one more trip up, whether we do it here or we do it in Michigan, we should be able to be firing this thing up next time around. So look forward to that because we are pretty pumped about it. So tonight I'm back on this thing. So we may have flooded it maybe just a little bit last night when we're messing around with stuff because I went to restart it today. So that's one of the things with, you know, you're working on your own quad or whatever, is that you kind of know how they like to start. So this one here, it was just a simple one pump on the throttle, pull the choke out, and it fires up and wants to run, which is a good sign because I was a little worried about compression, but it fires up so instantly. I don't think compression's our issue. If we keep on running into dead ends, then I'll test it. But it doesn't smoke and it fires right up. So I think we could say that the compression on this thing is good. But that does not mean that our valves are good. So I am still worried that the valves might... I don't know how many hours are on this thing, but you know, you put a little bit of hours on these things and you tend to have to reshim them and all that, which is not a big deal as far as reshimming the valves once or something like that. They're slightly out of adjustment, but they're too much out of adjustment. You don't want to take the risk of shimming them, because in the end, what you take the chance of doing is pretty much, in a sense, dropping a valve into the motor. And then you're going to grenade the whole thing, and these 450s are just not cheap to rebuild. So you go from maybe, let's say, $600, we'll say, on having your head reworked and doing fresh valves and all that stuff, and you know, of course, a timing chain or cam chain or whatever, you know, and then getting a lot more life out of the motor. Or you know, you could shim, but again, you take the chance of that motor were to grenade, and now you're looking at a whole top end kit, and if anything goes down to the bottom, you're looking at your crank and all that. I mean, it could get so salty. I mean, you could be up to $2,000, and then you start considering like, well, do I even want to put $2,000 into an '04 YFZ 450? Because unfortunately, the truth is, you can go out and buy yourself a used one for that price, or maybe even a hair under or more, depending on the condition. So that's where you find yourself in a kind of a pickle with stuff like this. I know the guy got this price way under, you know, so there's definitely room to work with. You know, even if he had to spend $600 to have the head reworked and all that, he could still come out ahead, which is a plus. But whether he wants us to put that kind of money in this thing, and then if we have to go that route, it really does eat up a lot of the cost of what he was hoping to make off this thing. So we're gonna try to... I'm on the fence of whether I check the valves right now or I go through the carb again. I didn't go completely through the carb. I just went to the jets and I kind of blew a little carb cleaner through the jet holes. As far as I took the jets out and then, you know, blew it through the carb, and I kind of did a little blast around a little bit, but I didn't get real direct with it. So I think I'm going to check the valves because it's just a good thing to know regardless of where we're at. I'm not a big fan. It doesn't take long, but I got to go look up the pack, or the specs and all that as far as what they're supposed to be at, what the tolerance is. Um, so I think we are going to go that route. It's just be a little time consuming since um, I haven't checked valves in a long time on these things, so I don't even know what they should be at. But I think that's where we're going to get at. So I'm going to put this guy down here, and I'm going to get to work, and then we'll see what's going on, guys. So this is one of the other things that kind of just throws a big red flag at me. I mean, I know this thing's not pretty. I know I keep on saying that. So we took the tank off, and initially, right here, there should be a nice plastic piece that actually kind of helps keep the tank from getting really hot. It's a good little piece to have in. So it's obviously not there. I mean, I guess we could see that the frame has been maybe a powder coat, probably just a spray paint job. Other thing is, on this here, there's no clamps at all, so that stuff's all missing now. Usually there's something that helps. Oh, that's for the clutch. Usually there's something that kind of holds this stuff together, so that's all missing. Another thing too, I don't know if you guys could see it, is that these Allens here are really worked out. So I mean, that's not even having them off for one time. So these have been off multiple times. So that tells me that this has been tampered with at least a couple times. So chances are, I would think that this thing has already been shimmed, or at least maybe they put a different cam in it. But did they put another cam in it and they didn't, install it right? And then this guy said, forget about it and passed the problem on. So I guess that's what we're going to see. So very important too for you guys to put a clamp on there. I mean, I get, but look at all the dust around here. And there's not too much debris in there. But if this were to pop off or anything like that, you're not going to know. Sorry, I gotta focus. You're not gonna know. And look at all the dirt that collects around here. I mean, even just because the plug wasn't all the way in, you got a bunch of dirt in here and all that. So you want to make sure it might seem like just a simple little clamp that goes on there, because it's just a little like one wire crimp device. But put one on there. I mean, because if that were to pop off, you might cause yourself more issues when you start sucking all kinds of dirt in there. And that piston's not gonna like it. These 450s are too temperamental to be messing around with a silly thing like that. So highly recommend, go the extra mile, go to the hardware store, do whatever you got to do. Put a hose clamp on there. You can put a hose clamp on there. It's no issue, just because they just put a simple, one wire setup, tie on there. Go the overboard if you don't have it or you lost it, So we'll probably hook them up with one. We just got to make sure we're heading in the right direction here. So all right. Alright guys, so just to wrap up for this night on what's going on is we found our issue. It is indeed the valves. So actually it's not horrible. Most of these checked out, so this one was good. This one was in spec. This one was a little off. So we actually need to shim this one up. And then these two were fine, because this is a 5-valve system. It was our center one here that we cannot fit a feeler gauge into, which means that we need to bump the shim actually down. So not a big deal as far as it's just time consuming, making sure you take this apart right and shim it correctly and all that. So we're going to talk to the guy and all that, make sure it's the direction he wants us to go, that he wants us to fix it. It's not horrible, like I said, and it'd be even better if this hasn't been shimmed yet. If we get into it and it's been shimmed, then that could be a little bit of an issue, kind of what I've warned in the earlier part of the video. But if it hasn't been shimmed yet, that's good news. So we'll see. If anything we could do it and at least run for him and give him a little bit of time, and he could decide what he wants to go from there. So we're going to do a whole separate video on us just shimming the motor as a demonstration. Even though there's plenty of videos out there, we're still going to put one out for you guys, so you can watch me at least doing valves on this thing. And that'll definitely be a it's going to stretch the time limit now of us working on this thing just because we have so many projects going on. So I'm also going to warn them about that, but we are still going to try to fit this in to get it done as quick as we can. So far as for tonight, guys, that's it. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you later.